Sin pulled the trigger that killed your son, now masturbates to memory.
You just give me 40 years, sir. Yes. You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what? Sir, what's this? Yeah, that's right. 40 years, 40 is a death sentence, man!
This is Esteban Carpio, charged with murder in Rhode Island. In 2005, Carpio fatally shot a detective at the Providence Police Station. Providence Police Detective Sergeant James L. Allen and another detective were questioning Carpio at police headquarters regarding an incident involving the assault of an 85-year-old woman, Madeline Gatta. As reported by authorities, during the questioning, the second detective left the third-floor interview room momentarily to fetch water. At this point, the situation took a tragic and violent turn.
Carpio had asked for water, and the two detectives that were in there with him, one left to go get the water and locked the door behind him. And they tragically heard Detective Allen say, "I think he's going to kill me. He's got my gun, he's going to kill me." By the time they broke it down, the officer was dying, and Carpio had jumped out the window.
Carpio was quickly recaptured just minutes later after a struggle with the police, but the tension did not stop there. His daring escape attempt and the ensuing confrontation left him with noticeable injuries. When Carpio appeared in court for sentencing, he wore a restraint mask designed to prevent him from spitting or biting. His face was swollen, bruised, and marked with redness, drawing immediate attention. As he entered the courtroom, emotions ran high. His family erupted in outrage, shouting accusations of police brutality and expressing their fury at his treatment.
I'm not guilty, Steven!
The family believed that the mask was used to conceal the injuries Carpio had sustained from what they alleged was a brutal beating by the police behind closed doors. In fact, Carpio's aunt publicly voiced these accusations during a live television broadcast, further fueling the controversy surrounding his treatment.
Police brutality! He was mentally ill, and he needed help, and we couldn't get it. We tried and tried, and he didn't deserve this.
Providence Police Chief Dean M. Esserman asserted that Carpio's injuries were caused by his leap from the third-floor interview room and his subsequent struggle during arrest. An FBI investigation into the incident later determined that the police had not employed excessive force.
No civil rights violation when injuries are incident to arrest. Meaning, if he's fighting the police officers, the officers have the right to use whatever force necessary to subdue the subject.
On June 27, 2006, a jury found Carpio guilty of the murder of Detective Allen and the stabbing of Madeline Gatta. The jury rejected Carpio's insanity defense. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. At first, Carpio appeared indifferent to the verdict and showed no visible reaction. Subsequently, in a bid to gain sympathy from the jury, he expressed remorse and apologized for his actions.
Every day, I face the facts of what I did and what happened.
Carpio argued that he had been experiencing mental illness during the time of the crime, but the court did not accept this defense. This is Bass Webb, who faces charges of attempted murder in Paris, Kentucky. Just a week before, surveillance footage outside a Kentucky jail captured a disturbing moment as Webb, a former inmate serving a 3-month sentence for assault, accelerated his vehicle with the intent to strike 2 jail employees. One employee narrowly avoided the car, while the other was injured when Webb's vehicle pinned him against a wall. Despite the severity of his crimes, it was Webb's behavior in court that continued to raise eyebrows. During his initial appearance before Judge Vanessa Dixon, he maintained a disruptive and defiant attitude, demonstrating a complete lack of respect for the legal proceedings. Before the proceedings moved forward, Judge Dixon announced her decision to recuse herself from the trial, citing her personal connection to the targeted jail employees. She also made it clear that she preferred not to have any further interactions with Webb in her courtroom.
Whenever the trial this case, or have any further proceedings, or I'll have to see you for one further setting.
This is when things took a dramatic turn. In case you missed it, let's slow it down. Webb literally spits on the judge. Not exactly the smartest move, especially when it's directed at the person who holds power over your freedom or continued incarceration. In fact, right after the incident, Judge Dixon immediately ordered additional charges against him.
Accused murderer Bass Webb made his first appearance in front of a Bourbon County judge today, and his actions made sure it would be his last appearance in front of this particular judge.
What happened in today's courtroom left the judge temporarily without words, and left Bass Webb, the man who spit in the face of Judge Vanessa Dixon, with additional charges. Before this rash action occurred, the judge had some strong words of her own to share with the man accused of attempted murder.
There's no way I'm going to try this case or have any further proceedings, or I'll have to see you for one further setting. Set preliminary hearing for next week. Charge.
The action clearly takes the judge by surprise. After initially dismissing Webb,
Keep him right here.
the judge makes Webb stand and watch as she wipes the spit from her face. Then Dixon tells him she's seen enough. Police say Webb is the man behind the wheel in the surveillance video from the Bourbon County Jail, which shows a car barrel down on two jailers, hitting and nearly killing them. Webb is also a suspect in the murder of Bria Runowitz, Webb's girlfriend, who also happened to be Judge Dixon's pre-trial officer, leading the judge to step away from this case, but not likely to forget Webb or what he did today anytime soon.
Because one of his charges include attempting to run over a member of the Bourbon County Jail, Webb is currently being held in the Fayette County Jail. In Bourbon County, Dave Spencer, WKYT 27 News First.
But the story didn't end there for Bass Webb. Shortly after this incident, while awaiting trial, he and 4 other inmates sparked a riot at the Fayette County Detention Center. During the riot, Webb was struck with beanbag rounds and hit in the neck with a pepper ball. Yet he remained unfazed, responding by hurling a metal telephone box at a corrections officer. Fast forward to Webb's next courtroom appearance, where he now faced additional charges of third-degree assault for his involvement in the riot, alongside his 2 counts of attempted murder from his vehicle attack on jail employees. If you thought Webb's story stopped there, think again. 5 years later, he was once more in court, this time on charges of murdering his ex-girlfriend, Bria Runowitz, nearly a decade earlier. Bria, who had been training to become a law enforcement officer, was working at the Bourbon County Jail when she was killed. The case, initially cold, resurfaced after a jailhouse tip led authorities to her remains. At this hearing, Webb appeared with a chilling new look. His head tattooed with a disturbing hit list targeting judges, prosecutors, law enforcement, and members of the media. As proceedings began, Webb's antics continued. When the judge requested him to approach and stand, he simply grinned and refused. After more than a week of testimony, the jury found Webb guilty of intentional murder. The trial revealed how Webb had strangled his ex-girlfriend and buried her in a shallow grave. He was sentenced to life in prison, eligible for parole after 25 years. Bass Webb remains a striking example of a convict displaying shocking behavior in court.
Saying to pull the trigger that killed your son, now masturbates to memory.
This is T.J. Lane, who faced charges for multiple murders in Ohio. Lane, a convicted American murderer, became infamous for his devastating attack at Chardon High School in Ohio. On February 27, 2012, the Ohio Police Department responded to a wave of emergency calls from teachers and students reporting an active shooter inside the school.
High school, we had shots fired, gunshots, multiple gunshots. 911.
Chardon High School, we need police up here. There's someone in the building with a gun.
Police reports indicate that Lane entered Chardon High School and proceeded to the cafeteria, where he opened fire, tragically killing 3 students and seriously wounding 3 more. Though 6 individuals were physically injured by T.J. Lane that day, the emotional toll was far greater. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people left Chardon High School on February 27, 2012, carrying deep emotional scars that would last a lifetime.
Glances of your friends laying all over the place, there's blood, there's people screaming, everybody's running in different directions, and you're just trying to get out.
I saw a kid holding a gun, pointing it towards a group of kids. Do you remember the look on the gunman's face?
I never looked at his face, I just looked at the gun. I still can't think about it all because it's just so scary.
Lane's actions reverberated throughout the community, leaving deep scars. He was swiftly taken into custody and charged with 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. To make matters even worse, Lane showed a complete lack of remorse during his trial and refused to cooperate with his defense team. In court, he wore a t-shirt with the word killer printed on it and made a crude gesture, flipping off the families of his victims. During the sentencing hearing, Lane delivered a shocking statement that further intensified the pain of those affected.
Saying pull the trigger that killed your sons, now masturbates to memory.
The statement sparked outrage and disgust, not only among the victims' families, but across the entire nation. Presiding over the case, Judge David Fury condemned Lane's actions as heinous, unprovoked, and senseless, sentencing him to 3 life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. Lane, however, showed no reaction. He appeared completely unbothered as the sentence was read. He remained emotionless and devoid of any remorse, behavior that many liken to that of a psychopath. In contrast, not every convict reacts so stoically upon hearing their sentence.
All rise. The Geauga County Court of Common Pleas is now in session. The Honorable David L. Fury presiding.
Please be seated. This is the case of the State of Ohio against Thomas M. Lane, case 12C58. Here this morning, on behalf of the State of Ohio, is Prosecutor James Flays. Mr. Flays, could you please introduce your table?
Thank you, Your Honor. To my left is Nicholas Burling, Geauga County Assistant Prosecutor, Mark Bartolotta, Geauga County Assistant Prosecutor, and from the Lake County Prosecutor's Office, Karen Colwell.
Thank you, and you can make it from where you sit. What? You can make it seated where you are, if you would. One moment. Take your time.
Saying pull the trigger that killed your sons, now masturbates to memory of you.
All right. That's all your client has to say, Mr. Friedman.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is Ricky Hand.
A Springfield man possibly facing new charges tonight after he throws urine and feces on his attorney in court.
Did you just give me 40 years?
Facing multiple robbery charges in Ohio, had been on a spree of late-night heists, targeting various convenience stores and making off with cash. However, his streak came to an abrupt end when he chose to target John's drive-thru. In the surveillance footage, the store owner is seen preparing to close for the night, unaware that Ricky, armed and lurking nearby, was about to strike. As Ricky approached the entrance, he was confronted by the shop owner, who was armed and fired shots to scare him off. After this unsuccessful robbery attempt, the shop owner promptly contacted the police, reporting an attempted robbery that resulted in a shooting.
911 emergency. Yeah, this is John's drive-thru. It's West Main Street. A guy just tried to rob me and I shot him. He ran out the back door. Okay, is he injured? I think I hit him.
Just a few days later, Ricky checked himself into a hospital to receive treatment for the gunshot wounds he sustained during the attempted robbery at John's drive-thru. It was there that police apprehended him and began questioning him about that night's events.
I did try to rob John's drive-thru. He got shot 3 times. I did the crime, I ain't gonna lie. I just wanted to.
When Ricky Hand's case went to trial, he was sentenced to 40 years in prison. The judge handed down such a lengthy sentence after evidence confirmed his involvement in a string of robberies throughout Springfield, Ohio. Upon hearing his fate, Hand lost his composure. In a shocking display, he retrieved bottles of his own excrement and urine, concealed in an arm sling, and threw them at his attorney. The scene captured the moment Hand reached for the bottles, showcasing the extreme nature of his reaction. As a result of the courtroom incident, Hand faced additional charges, including 5 counts of harassment with bodily substances, 1 count for his attorney, and 4 counts for the deputies present. He was also charged with obstructing official business and retaliation. Some defendant behaviors in court are so bizarre and irrational that they defy explanation, as in the case of Christopher Teal. Teal appeared before Superior Judge Karen Donahue in a King County courtroom in Seattle. The 26-year-old faced charges of rape and unlawful imprisonment following accusations that he had followed a woman into a restroom at a car dealership, confined her in a stall, and assaulted her. The assault ended when dealership employees forced their way into the stall and pulled Teal, who stood at 6 feet 3 inches, off the victim. Prior to his court appearance, Teal exhibited erratic behavior while in custody and was involved in several violent incidents, including an attempt to headbutt a detective during questioning about the dealership incident. A psychiatric evaluation determined that Teal was competent to understand the criminal charges brought against him. The psychologist's report suggested that he might be exaggerating or faking symptoms of a psychiatric disorder. Today, Teal is appearing in court for a competency hearing. As he enters the courtroom, he appears to be in a dazed state, looking around. His court-appointed attorney, Reed Birkland, stands by his side. Once the jail guard removes Teal's handcuffs, he continues to glance around with a confused expression. As the prosecutor begins the hearing, Teal suddenly reaches out toward his defense attorney, prompting a court officer to intervene and pull his arm down, instructing him to stand still. Then, in a startling moment, Teal laughs and, without provocation, turns and delivers a sharp slap to Birkland. If you missed it, here it is again. A court officer quickly grabs Teal by the back of his head, while another restrains him by the shoulders, bringing him to the ground. They eventually manage to cuff the 250-pound defendant once more, while another officer calls for a restraint chair to secure him.
Chair. Move the chair.
Since no restraint chairs were available, the officers placed a spit hood over Teal's head and escorted him out of the courtroom. His defense attorney, Birkland, opted not to press charges but decided to step down from representing him. The turmoil didn't stop there. 2 weeks later, Teal appeared again for another competency hearing. This time, the officers took extra precautions, bringing him in strapped to a restraint chair. Before the hearing could conclude, Teal unexpectedly interrupted, loudly expressing his dissatisfaction over how short his hair appeared in his mugshot.
I'd like to know where the they got that photo of me with my short hair. Because that was on Facebook, and I don't have a Facebook.
The attorney attempts to regain control of the proceedings, but Teal interrupts once more, shouting over him and posing nonsensical questions.
Legitimate questions. Like, do they have access to Google?
Teal is ultimately found competent to stand trial, and upon being convicted, he receives a sentence ranging from 8.5 years to life for his crimes. Throughout the proceedings, Teal's behavior provided a stark reminder of the challenges attorneys face when representing difficult or unpredictable clients. His case underscored how defense lawyers can become targets of disruptive and erratic behavior, a situation that can complicate the already demanding nature of legal defense work. From emotional outbursts to physical confrontations, these moments in the courtroom serve as a vivid illustration of the complexities and volatility that can arise in the justice system. Thank you for watching as we delved into some of the most shocking and unforgettable courtroom moments, showcasing the unsettling behaviors that can unfold within the justice system. These cases reveal just how intense and unpredictable court proceedings can be. If you found this journey through courtroom drama intriguing, be sure to like, comment, and share your thoughts on what struck you the most. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more astonishing stories, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our next captivating episode. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.